Hello.
Imani, I'm not sure what happened there. I'm so sorry.
I think, I don't know if it's my end. I think it was my end. Sorry, you were asking a question.
No, what I was saying was, I was just talking about what we covered, the areas in regards to why people are having these issues in communicating. So we've covered quite a large area.
I think we did, actually. Yeah.
Another thing what I wanted to discuss is women of today in how they're behaving. Do you think it's like a bit like Battle of the Sexes?
I do feel that. It is a bit. It is definitely. Yeah, I think there's definitely the battle of the sexes going on in the 21st century.
Because a woman will decorate her house. She'll buy her own drink. She'd even ask a man for a dance. You know, how do you think that makes men feel?
I think you see, the thing is, I think there's two, different kinds of men. There's some men that, based on their self-esteem and how comfortable and how much understanding they have of women, will be okay with that, will be comfortable with that, because they'll know that just because a woman can do a lot for herself, and she probably doesn't need a man in that way. Yeah. She still needs a man, emotionally and as a companion, and men are not completely redundant from our lives. Do you know what I mean? We still need them. There's still a lot that they can do, to enhance a woman's life, and as well as we can do for them as well. But definitely there are men out there who maybe their self-esteem is not that good. Yeah. Maybe they don't communicate well, and they interpret all sorts of things from a woman who's able to, stand on her own 2 feet and take care of herself. Yeah. At the same time, sometimes, I do. You see, I'm going to say something that maybe is going to, maybe sound a bit controversial, but I really believe that feminism, the feminist movement, was not. I think it did a lot of good things for women, but I think it also
Are you referring to Maggie Thatcher, when Maggie Thatcher was in power?
I think Maggie Thatcher being in power the way she was twofold. On the one hand, it made women realise, wow, we can get the top job, we can go for things, we can aspire. Yeah, she did
quite a bit for women. She did quite a bit for women, I would say. She
did do a bit for women in that sense, but where she probably didn't do enough for women was where, she didn't, her team, what do you call it, her cabinet
was full of men,
they should. You see, what happened with Maggie, and I think why she probably hasn't gone down, she should have gone, she died last year, she should have gone down well. She should have gone down really, really well. Women were not celebrating her life when she died last year. And I think
the reason why I think she had a cabinet full of men, maybe it was her way of controlling. Whereas if she had a woman working in her cabinet, maybe it would be more catty. Maybe she wouldn't have managed or be able to control them, because she did have strong element of control.
But then you see, this is the thing though, and this is the thing we have to realise as women. Men like us in certain positions. Excuse the pun.
Some, I would say some.
But yes, that came out really wrong. But I think when men, look what they did to poor old Maggie in the end.
That wasn't nice. When they got rid of her, it wasn't nice. And I did feel sorry for her.
Yeah, and men as a group, we say women can be bitchy and this and that. When men, come together and they feel... They can be as bitchy, if not worse. Oh my God, easily so. So I would say, Margaret Thatcher for me, because I was a teenager when she came to power. Yeah. And for me, it kind of, made me look at things maybe a bit, definitely you saw opportunities. You didn't sort of you felt like, wow, a woman is, she's the Prime Minister. That's amazing. So that
it was nice to see. Back in the day, it was nice to see.
it would open up your consciousness to believe that you could do whatever, and certainly feel comfortable.
Yeah,
now
because she
that,
did make it possible for own buys as well, and the schools. She did a lot with the schools as well.
That was a good thing. Some people argue that it's sort of that affected other things, but I definitely believe that helping people to stand on their own 2 feet, for me personally, is a good thing. I don't, as much as I do feel that where people can't do certain things, you have to have you have to have something set up for them as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes some of because I'm not, when it comes to politics, I'm really not into it on so many levels. But what I don't like is where they create a dependency state, and I think what Maggie was trying to do was she had literally said it: get off your bike and sort yourself out. Get up and do something for yourself. So I really like that about her sort of philosophy.
That was very positive.
So because the thing is, there's no way any one person's going to be completely bad. But definitely, I think, Margaret Thatcher, for me, I did feel positive about her when I saw her, walking around, and, she had this very strong
this strength
personality.
about her, this integrity.
Yeah, and, we can't ignore, we might not like some of her policies and some of the things she did, but she did do a lot for women on, in terms of giving women that ability to feel pride in themselves, and that they can, they can do things, or they can take on things that maybe men wanted to keep us out
so
of.
you would say she gave women the kind of go ahead, stand on your 2 feet?
I would say that just as not wanting to move away from things, but just as President Obama has kind of made black people feel, we can do more, and especially like young people seeing, and certainly people, young mixed race people have kind of come into their own since he's gone to power. Yeah, you can see the confidence. He has. So that's what she did for women.
Portrayed a lot of positive in regards to the youngsters. That's true.
Yeah, so I would say for her as a woman at that time made women, young girls at that time, when I was a young girl, we kind of looked up to her and thought, wow, we can do things, we can speak up for ourselves, we don't have to sit back and just wait for a man. So but definitely looking at the 21st century now and looking at sort of where we are, I would definitely say we still need men. We can do so much for ourselves, and it's great that we can do so much for ourselves. Yeah. And I don't think women should throw that away.
Some will argue that they don't need a man.
Well, I'm not one of those women. and it doesn't mean that I can't be on my own. This is not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that if I'm single or if I'm, but I definitely wouldn't like the world without men in it. No. Yeah. I definitely like to see a man. I like to see men in the world, and definitely, I prefer to. I like to have a. I like men. I like men. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's always been easy being with them, but I definitely, I definitely don't think that. I don't think most women believe that. I really don't think most women believe that. That sounds to me a little bit bitter. That sounds like, coming from hurts and thinking, right, I don't need a man. But I don't.
So in order to change the dynamics with some of the issues black men kind of carry the stigma about them being not very nice, what less? They don't look after their children's mother.
You see, right now, I mean, what I'm hearing is shocking me. And I don't know if you and your listeners are hearing what I'm hearing. But I'm hearing the black man really doesn't like the black woman, and is putting her down on every single level. And I find, that is totally offensive to me, because in my day growing up, the black man, the black woman was his queen. The black woman, every black man wanted a black woman to be by his side. But I think what's happening is, as we're talking about the battle of the, I think what is happening, some men, and this is what I feel with the self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
Some men do not like and they're not seeing women as proactive and self-empowering. They're seeing it as the woman is taking over, and the woman is.
So it's a bit like if a woman was earning more money than her partner, that would threaten them.
And a lot of men see it as, the woman might come home and say certain things, and he sees it as, oh, she's degrading him. And you see, that's the problem. You see, it always goes back to self-esteem.
Yeah.
If that man is strong in himself, if he, say for argument's sake, the woman has got the kind of abilities, or she's doing well, and she can be the breadwinner.
Yeah.
And the man is so much better at doing, say, the emotional thing for the children, and he's better at being at home. Some men can do that and do that happily.
Statistically, apparently, that men are better than women doing that.
Well, there you go. And this is because I heard that say we went back to Africa, years ago, the men would actually go off with the children to go and find, whatever. Yeah. And then the woman, this is for to keep the food on the table and the roof over the head.
Yeah.
So they would go off and find, do what they had to do, whether it's the farming or whatever, and take the children. The men would take the children with him, and the woman would stay at home and do whatever. And then when the man comes back with the children, the woman would go to the market to start trading what the man brought. So. It sounds, with what you just said, that sounds plausible with what I've heard when we go and dig into our ancestry, is what used to happen. So, maybe that's, maybe that makes a lot of sense, that maybe the men can, do things with the children in a way that maybe sometimes the mother can't, and obviously the mother has her place as well, but it's, in a different way.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of men will, if you're a weak man, or I wouldn't say weak man, if you've got self-esteem issues and you haven't healed, and you've got a lot of inner self-talk that is very negative, and you see a very strong woman like that being, proactive, doing very well, going up through the ranks, and getting promotion after promotion, doing really well.
Yeah.
Could be
who would you say is responsible? Would be responsible for raising stronger, like our young men? Would it be both parents, or do you think it's more to do with the woman raising the male, or the male raising a male child?
Again,
or joint?
For me, I would definitely say. You see, one of the things I brought my daughter up as a single parent. At times, there were times when I had a partner, and times when we were like, we were on our own. I do really, really, really feel that mum and dad together is always going
more
to be.
for balance.
And I myself come from a family that was, a divorced family, and I definitely believe that, the two parents have, it makes sense. The two people made the children. It makes sense that they both have something to give.
Providing both the parents are balanced, it is important that male and females know what a man's role is, and understand that the man role is to protect, provide and lead. It is important that, both male and female know that. And it is important for both people, and like you rightly say, having a father there as a role model will definitely that would change things tremendously if there was a more of an improvement.
It's not even if the parents have to live together. Sometimes that can't. Sometimes that's not the best.
Yeah, not necessarily together, but come together as a couple.
Yes, and not the
bring
father.
The child up balance.
Yeah, not the father doing what he thinks is right, and then the mother, she's over here doing something different. They should still do it as a couple, so that they both are, in agreement with what, with the children's upbringing, and like you say, helping them to establish their roles. Because, a boy should start his, learning his role in the girl as well from, a very young age.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like, okay, you're 18 now, this is what a man should do, this is what a woman
it should
do.
be from the age of 0
Yeah.
right up to the age of 18.
No, that's right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
In fact, the child really should be nurtured in the stomach, because children in the stomach as fetus can actually hear. They can hear conversations and music.
I agree with that.
So that's where it should be, really.
It should definitely start within, and some people would go even further back and say, start working on yourself. I mean, because, okay, with what I know now, I would actually say there was so we're looking at children, say we're looking at young people. Before you even think about meeting the man and meeting, having the children, get some, start working on your issues, because no matter how great, and they said 99% of households are dysfunctional, so no matter how great your start was, you're going to have a little bit of stuff that you're carrying.
Absolutely.
So it's, to me, just like, certain things are kind of, it has to be done. It's there's no getting out of it.
For things to get better, we have to work on our communication level and think about how we're raising our children, because I think if things were done differently, all this crime would be, it wouldn't be. If things were done differently, all the crime will go out the window. I
think the crime against each other, the crime, is a call for, and this is the thing, it's a call for help. It's almost like...
Because it's all about false self-gratification.
If people behaving like that, they're not feeling part of things, they're not feeling they have a voice.
They don't feel they belong, they're not heard,
they're really being disruptive, because they feel like, no one's listening to me anyway. So, but then they don't know how to communicate how they feel, and that's another big problem. And these same, people will go into relationships with that communication issue, feeling, misunderstood, and wreak havoc in the relationship area as well.
So, what do you think about more forums for young men? More forums for them to have been mentored.
I think mentoring for young men is absolutely a must. That should not be something that is seen as, you can't, it's a little thing. I think that could really help.
Yeah. Groups are important, because because back in the day, although our parents had issues going on, they were more about looking out for each other's children.
Definitely.
If anything happened, they'd look out for them. No, seriously, they did.
I was talking about this very thing, was it yesterday or the day before? How if you I remember when I was young, if I walked home from school and somebody was talking to me, like say a boy came up and was talking to me, by the time I reached home, Bev, my mum knows about it, because somebody informed her. Yeah, seriously.
It was like that, very much like that.
Yeah.
Maybe things should go back to that way, having the mentors to strengthen our young men.
Having said that, I don't know if snooping on other people's children like that was necessarily brilliant, but definitely mentoring. I think definitely parents. You see, I think it goes back to self-love and community love. Yeah. You see, if we look around and we don't like what we see, and then we realise, you know what,
because when I say the parents the friends and family members used to look out for our children, when we were younger, I'm talking about when some families, if the parents were working, they'll come and support and look after the children.
Yes.
That type of thing. And show some form of guidance.
Yeah,
not necessarily snooping on them. Well, there were some that used to snoop. But
I don't think today's children would have that, actually. No. I think they would say, what? How could you? Yeah. But definitely mentoring. And like you say, that those people care about your children as much as you do. And this is the thing as well, in Africa, there's a saying that you can't, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And you see, when I think of self-love, I think, when we see what's going on in the world today with young people and the shoot, what's it called, the black on black shootings and stuff like that. It is about looking and realising, I love, when you see children, it shouldn't be this is somebody's child or I don't know. We should just love them because they are,
and nurture them, love them and nurture them.
That's it. I remember once I was in my car driving and there was a little boy being battered on his bike. I think a gang of boys wanted his bike. And I'm not joking, Bev. There was tons of people, and I'm tooting and I'm and I'm thinking people are standing there. There were grown men standing there, and nobody did anything. They just left the boy to it.
Wow.
And things like that is happening all over the place, where we've just kind of feel like, well, it's just young people, this is how they are,
Because there's kind of a fear of getting involved in case they knock you down, in case they bully you.
Well, obviously, but what I'm saying is, though, this is the thing, going back to our men. Our men are not controlling the situation. Young guys should fear the big man when they see big men walking by.
You're saying that our men are not controlling the situation. Are they mummy's boys? Do you think them being mummy's boys is an issue to why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing?
That could be part of it. That could be part of it, and that could be part of them not, like what you said. You said men should realise that they're there to protect the women and children. I don't know that men are being taught that now, and I don't think men see that as, because if we looked at the old style, say we were looking at, say, back in the 60s. Imagine if a group of black kids were beating each other. That those men of those times, they'd take off their hats, they'd take off their jacket, and they would gang, several of them would come and get those boys and give them a good telling off or a good hiding.
Yeah.
Because they because and that's what they did in the 60s. You couldn't. A black, there's no way anyone could just attack a lone black person and other people are around. They would do something. They would at least come together.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I don't know that black men feel that way. In fact, a lot of the times, I think black men just feel disillusioned. They feel disillusioned, and they walk around and they see what's going on, and they just feel, what can I do? It's like they feel helpless, and that is something that is not very good for our community. They don't seem to feel that they can be men and do what and help to kind of. It's women. I think sometimes a lot of the time it's you see women dealing with some of these situations.
As you're saying that, that's how I raised my son. Growing up as a child, he didn't ask. I'm not saying that his father is weak. I would say is not the strongest of men. As a father, he did his best. But when it came to personal issues, when my son had any issues, he came to me. Adolescence years, he came to me and asked me certain things.
And I think that is what happens. That's what happens. And boys don't feel that the men in their lives as fathers or maybe uncles or whoever, they can turn to them and get the information that they need.
It's like they're not having the confidence in their fathers, because this is what I find with my son. He's his father. He loves him very much. His father does the best he can. He accepts that, but he does have a relationship with his father. But certain things he wouldn't go to his father. He never has done. It's always been me.
Yeah, so something in his father's wasn't, like what you were saying. The mum and the dad together didn't, approach, and I think that happens in a lot of men. And I think certainly when I look around men in my family or men, that I've known or kind of partners, and that there's definitely something lacking in terms of men taking, because I think women are getting stronger in the world that we live in today, black women particularly. But I think women do want men to take charge of.
So you think women want men to step up to the plate and deliver? Really?
I think women do. Well, I know I definitely feel that is.
Do you think it's most, or do you think? Because the way things are now, a lot of women are quite strong-minded. If the guy's not earning enough, they wouldn't date them.
Mm.
You know, the guy has to match what they have. I mean, do you agree with that? The guy have to match what they have.
No. I really don't. I think what I will say though is, I don't feel that a man's earning potential should be, taken into consideration when trying to when choosing them. In terms of where, if I'm earning such and such and the man is earning less, I think there has got to, you have to look for other things in what that man brings to the table.
So what would you say it's based on? What would you be looking for?
To me, I'd be looking for somebody that shares my values. I think one of the things that I've come to realise is can be a big problem is when people come together and they have different values, and they seem to the other person, and especially when the other person's values is sometimes can be the complete opposite. So I would be looking for someone who shares values, someone who's open in communication, somebody who is ambitious and striving. So I wouldn't have a problem with a man where he starts. I would have a problem if he hasn't got a vision. You see, we shouldn't be concerned about what he's got right now. Maybe he hasn't got as much as I have. But what I would like to see is that this man has got a vision for his life, and he's got goals and dreams that he hopes to fulfill. And even if he doesn't achieve them, that in itself will kind of make me feel, this man. But then at the same time, I don't want him to be so focused on his goals and his work, and you know what I mean. He hasn't got time to bring something, the nourishing and the emotional fulfillment as well. So it's a number of things, and I just think I think if a man is just not bothering at all, say he doesn't want to do anything, then I don't think that is a good. I would understand a young woman today saying, no, I don't want that kind of man in my life. But two young people starting out together, and the man might not be, where he needs to be, but he's together. They're both, aiming for something. I think that's an excellent, especially if the other things are being met. Like they share the same values. They both see where they're going together. They both got the same vision. That can work. But I think to just write someone off.
Do you think the government can help us?
I think the
move
government
forward, or
I think the
implement
government should
certain procedures.
I think the government should help. I don't know that they will. I don't know that they will. The issues that we need help with, I don't know that they will step in and deal with them in that way, because
they would come from a different perspective.
They're coming from a different perspective. But I think, so that's why I think sometimes, I think in life, when there's problems, that's why it's so important for us to be resourceful, whether we're, whether it's relationships, whether it's financial, whether, you always have to try and find that, that creativity, the spiritual creativity that can help. And as a group, of course, I mean, black people, we spend more money than any other group. Imagine if we could come to... No, but seriously, Bev, imagine if we could find a way to
if we was to invest that money into something positive, we'd be a rich nation.
Yeah, they said a black pound rolls out 17 times or something like that. Something ridiculous into other communities before we get it back. Imagine if it rolled straight out of our hands into our own community again and again and again, 17 times in the black community. 'Cause that's what it is. It's like, if we really want to have power and wealth, in this community, we need to keep the money rolling around. Having said that, unfortunately, a lot of things that we might spend our money on might not be, the best thing for our community.
Importance.
I'll say. Like, okay, I think some of the things that we see as, they're kind of, these are things that are mandatory, we must have them. I don't know, I think if we left them out and had some other things, like we kind of started taking care of our emotional, mental health and things like that. Putting that in, and there's a lot of gifted, people in the community, and that's an area where people can, bring wealth to the community and health, health on the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical level.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so many things. We're so creative as a group. We can make things. We can do things.
That's the thing. Everybody has a talent, but people don't see it.
No.
They don't see it.
At the moment, I think black people we're so caught up into the big
fast life, the
hysteria
cars, the money,
world.
the drugs.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong with those things by themselves in terms of I would like but when that is your everything, when everybody wants to be everybody wants to go, and also that thing of the Joneses, we
keeping up with the Joneses.
we don't need to be in that kind of scenario at all, because we are a very powerful, creative people, and if we came together, we would be amazing. I mean,
absolutely.
Just look at our people when we come together and we're having a good time. The energy.
When we do positive things, what about when we do the positive things? It's just amazing.
Exactly. So we've got it. We've got everything that we need. Everything.
All the attributes. It's just about focusing and putting our minds to things. Yeah.
That's it. And sort of unifying our talents and people not being so, realising what is good for them and realise that healing is a very, we need that in our community. And it's not just going to the church and just listening to someone babble on about hell and heaven. It's about knowing about you on the, who you really are.
Deep down, the core issues, reaching the core issue,
because we don't know who we are. We think we're a sinning wretch. You're an old wretch that, needs to be punished or something, or we get caught up in our roles. Oh, I'm a woman, or I'm a man, I'm black, I'm whatever. And we don't realise that we are a soul, a living soul in a physical, vehicle.
Yeah.
And we came here on a journey. We didn't just come here to
cause havoc.
We came here to
for positive reasons.
Yes, and we need to find what those are. It's hard to find them when you're sort of being externalizing yourself all the time. You say we
need to really come together as a unit and all be on the same page and working together.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And still feeling that you can have your unique identity as well. And this is what I think is where people struggle. It's that thing of we are united, because what I find sometimes is there's some great movements out there where people want to come together, but then it becomes you have to represent black people in this way, in this one cloned way. And if you don't represent in this way, then you're not a proper black person. Or you're a sellout, or you're a fake black person. And then what happens is you just have tiny little groups of people, and it's not effective. We need to be able to.
So it's like their followers. You're referring to their followers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we all need to be leaders.
Absolutely. In a positive way. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And raise our boys, our young men like that.
That's right.
And if the men are not able to assist, even work with them. Nurture them so that they can nurture their boys.
That's right. And this is the thing, I see for me, I still believe in the black woman and the black man. I think the black woman is absolutely awesome. I mean, what black women do on a day-to-day basis, just to make, life work and to what we have to go through is most other groups couldn't cope. And the black man, I would definitely say, there's still so much, to be proud of with the black man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have to be honest and say there's room for improvement, and we can't have our black men openly around the world, disgracing and slagging off black women. That is totally, totally out of order. And, like you said, black men are they're there to protect and take care of.
Yeah.
And not to
lead.
And lead.
Yeah.
And that's what black women really want, I believe.
Yeah.
And I know some women are saying what you said earlier, we don't. But I think there's a women that have just become disillusioned. But I bet you any money if those same women had, great black man came around them and was doing the right things that they were doing and treating them the lady that they deserve to be, they would change their, that tune, and they'll be saying, yes, I think it's important. I love having the man, a good black man around, because that's what it is. We're talking about, couples, good, effective black women and good, effective black men. That's what we want to create in the community, and it's not about any group being worse than the other. There's faults on both sides, but what we're talking about is we know that black men, there are good black men out there, and there's things that can be done to
improve.
We're
actually coming to the end of the show, so I just want to sum things up, really. I know we've had fun. That's right, we've had fun. Just to sum things up, really, I think people shouldn't expect expectations, because I think having expectations causes the doubts and the issues that people have, because everybody make mistakes, and
of course.
Most importantly as well is taking responsibility for your mistakes and learning from them. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think blame hides people. Yes. Hide their they hide their faults. Yeah. It hides their faults. Putting your own spin on it. And it's just not working.
For sure.
So there's no expectations, no overthinking as well.
No.
Because
get out of the analytical mind.
Because it leads to stress and anxiety.
Oh my God! Yeah. Absolutely.
And surrounding yourself with positive people as well.
I think a positive network of people is vital in today's society.
Even if it means changing your network of friends.
I think
that's important.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Because these are skills that are free. You don't have to pay for these skills. These are something that you can do.
Absolutely.
And also verbally beating yourself up as well. If you think that you haven't met your own expectations, not to beat yourself up.
No, just go in and sort do what you need to do step by step. Take a step by step approach, and always look at what you have done well. Always when you feel like I've not done so well here or I've failed.
Yeah.
Focus equally on what you've done well to balance it out.
Absolutely.
So you're always building on your weaknesses and using your strength as a kind of anchor that doesn't make you pull yourself down.
Exactly. And couples communication. Timing is everything.
That's a good one.
Timing is everything.
There's no point communicating at
and
the
I will
wrong
say
moment.
it again. Timing is everything.
For sure. No, that is key. That is such a good thing you've stated there.
Yeah.
Because
finding the right time to talk to your partner, to discuss issues. Yeah.
That's right. So be discerning about that. Don't just choose any old moment because you're ready to talk.
Yeah.
You make sure that it suits both of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
Imani,
I've really
it's been really, really great having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
I've really had fun.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing experience, and thank you very much for
You're welcome.
giving me this opportunity to speak with you today. I've really enjoyed it.
You're welcome, and thank you to the public.
For sure, yes, kings and queens.
Yeah,
thank you.
Okay, until next time, I'm going to be leaving you with a track. This one's by Selby Brown, called Masawa.